Hey, Mr. Albert here, and we're going to do some practice problems where we're solving quadratic equations, and these ones we're going to do by factoring. You can do them other ways, but we haven't talked about them yet in this progression. But A is 16x squared plus 60x minus 100 equals 0. So let's see here. I look at this thing, and first of all, let me see if I can factor it. So I look at it and I see 16, 60, and 100. I feel all of those are divisible by 4. So let's see, I can pull a 4 out. And if that's the case, I will have 4x squared plus 15x minus 25. So I'm going to break this down, and what I know is A equals 4, B equals 15, C equals negative 25. So I made smaller numbers by pulling the 4 out. So I'm going to set up two factors, which will look like two numbers multiplied together that give me negative 100, 4 times negative 25, and add up to be 15. So I believe those two numbers are actually 20 and negative 5. Yes, I like to make sure before I go on. So I'm going to set up the two factors, starting with the A, which is 4x plus 20 and 4x minus 5. I can pull a 4 out of the first one. I put an extra 4 in so it comes out, leaving me x plus 5, and the other one is 4x minus 5. But remember, I get to throw that 4 I pulled out away. And then coming back in, step 5, I'm going to bring that 4 from the top back in. And then it'll be 4 times x plus 5 times 4x minus 5. Let me clean up that 4. He looks rather sick. Let's see. 4. Looks a little bit better now. Okay, so I factored it. So let's come over here and let's solve it. So we broke this thing up top down into 4 times x plus 5 times 4x minus 5. And that would be equal to 0. So technically here we've got 3 different factors. We've got 4, we got x plus 5, and 4x minus 5. And we could set all 3 of those equal to 0, but 4 can never be 0. So we don't really need to investigate that. But we can set up x plus 5 equals 0 and 4x minus 5 equal to 0. If I solve both of those, I get x equals negative 5. And 4x minus 5 I solve, I bring the 5 over, divide by the 4, I get 5 fourths. So I get two answers. X is negative 5 and x is 5 fourths. Okay. So let's do another one here. B is negative 6x squared minus 25x minus 25 equals 0. So let's start with our factoring. So step 1. 6, 25, and 5 do not have a common factor, but one thing that really bugs me when I go to factor is if the a term is negative. So I'm going to pull out a negative. Let me do what I've been consistently doing here. Let me pull out a negative, and that could be written as a negative 1 if it's going to help you see it. But if I pull out a negative 1, then everything turns positive in here. 6x squared plus 25x plus 25. That's just my personal preference. But then I'm working with an A of 6, a B of 25, and a C of 25. So let's see what happens when we continue here. We need two numbers multiplied together to give us A times C, which looks to be 150. And they need to add up to be 25. Let's see. What could these two numbers be? 30 and 5 does not work. I have it written down correctly, so let's see. 3 and 50, no. 4 and something. Let me pause and do a little bit of investigation here. You might see it. Well, I feel a little silly. It was two easy numbers, 10 and 15. Maybe you saw that way before I did. But a little trial and error would get us there. I just didn't want to waste a lot of time in the video if it took me a while. But let's see here. We're going to set up our two factors, which will be 6x plus 10 and 6x plus 15. We put an extra 6 in. Let's see. We can get a 2 out of the first one, which will leave 3x plus 5. We can get a 3 out of the second one, which will leave 2x plus 5. So we pulled out an extra 2 and a 3, which is the extra 6 that we put in. Coming back to finalize our factoring, we had that -1 that we can just write as a negative, but maybe the 1 there will help emphasize it. Times 3x plus 5 times 2x plus 5. Okay, so we factored all that out, so now I want to solve it. So what I know is my original is equal to -1 times 3x plus 5 times 2x plus 5 equal to 0. So once again, I have three things multiplied together to give me 0, -1, 3x plus 5, and 2x plus 5. But -1 can never be 0. So let's just focus on the other two parts. 3x plus 5 equals 0. 2x plus 5 equals 0. And if I isolate the x in these, I'll get -5/3 and -5/2. Okay. So not too much of trouble there if you're good at factoring. And anything you can do to abbreviate the factoring process will speed things up. But it can also cause problems and lead to errors if you go too fast or leave steps out. Okay, so be very careful. Thank you.